Do you drink alcohol?
Yes.
Yes.
So how many times in a day? Or a week? Or in a month? How many times do you drink alcohol?
Once a month.
Does alcohol makes you feel warm?
No.
Halloween had just bid us farewell. Another holiday is coming by very soon. I wish we could have a little like white Christmas this year in the Bay Area, but unfortunately we live in California, we live in the Bay Area, we don't have snow. If you go to Tahoe, maybe you can get some snow during the holiday season. As the cold weather slowly sets in, we need to find ways in keeping our body warm, just so we can have a real holiday fun, instead of being stuck at home in layers and layers of pajamas. There are probably hundreds of ways to stay warm in winter without rendering us immobile. But among the more popular ones is having a tall mug of booze. But does alcohol really help keep our body warm? Alcohol makes you feel warm. Obviously, alcohol does not make us feel warm all over. After just a couple of nips, we always feel that gratifying flow of heat from our throats, creeping down to our esophagus, and finally to our awaiting tummies. Now, when alcohol is a vasodilator, so alcohol makes our blood vessels to dilate, pushing warm blood towards the surface of our skin, giving us an immediate relief from the cold, making us warm and even relax all at once. The heat flush we experience after a week or two definitely make us feel warm, because it is the skin that most of our heat sensors are located. The amount of blood supply in the capillaries of the skin also increases in volume, making our skin go pinkish and even sweating under our coats. Alcohol lowers your core body heat. However, this phenomenon is the exact opposite of how our body's defenses work. Dr. Williams Wayne, Director of Clinical Pharmacology at the University of Iowa, said that alcohol consumption undoes many of the human body healthy reflexes, one of which is keeping the core body temperature warm in cold weather. Normally, when it is very cold, our blood vessels constrict, minimizing the amount of blood flow through the capillary in our skin. This way, our body preserves most of this heat inside, keeping our core body temperature up. So when our blood concentrates on supplying heat towards the surface, the process exposes most of our body heat to the cold atmosphere. The longer we expose ourselves to cold temperature, the more we lose our core body heat, the very thing we need to survive, especially when stuck in snowdrift. Eventually, hypothermia sets in. Another way alcohol makes us lose core body heat is by inhibiting our body's ability to shiver. But normally what happens is that when it's cold, we have to shiver to fight the cold. But when you take alcohol, you don't have that ability, you lose the ability to do that. It's inhibited. So you cannot really shiver because you feel like it's so high. Our body natural ways of producing heat. A study made by the Army Research Institute of Environmental Medicine had proven this fatal phenomenon on people who sought to drinking in order to keep themselves warm. This is like a personal story, but I've seen somebody that was like years ago, my grandfather. So when it was cold in the village, he would drink alcohol. And kept drinking until one day he just like passed away because he thought he was getting warm, but instead he was getting colder inside his body. Alcohol doesn't really help increase our body temperature. It just deceives us into thinking that it does. But aside from the psychological effects of alcohol, it also worsens the temperature problem by blowing our mind against making wise decisions. That happened to my grandfather. Because he was taking his alcohol, he could not make a wise decision to buy a Coke, and he passed out. According to Professor Malcolm Woolworth, chair of the British Paramedic Association, the problem that paramedics deal with sometimes people who have drunk too much, who have missed the last bus home, passed out outside and ended up with hypothermia. Then of course there are the people we treat that have been drinking and then sleep on ice or snow and hurt themselves. Happens to my granddad. Alcohol and cold temperature are very lethal combination, he further explained. I want to conclude that instead of taking a lot of bottle of alcohol when you feel cold, you can just take hot cocoa, yeah, things that will actually keep you warm from the inside, and at the same time giving you a lot of health benefits. Just cut down on the caffeine, so don't take coffee when you are cold. Though, as it also makes your body heat rise up to the skin, leave your internal organ cooler than you want them to be. Of course, the good old way, laying up techniques still works, like wear a lot of clothes, pajama, a lot of things in your body to make sure you keep warm, and also exercising. I know the winter is by the corner, so we can use all this technique to make sure we keep ourselves warm, but don't drink alcohol, please. Thank you.